And Congressman Devin Nunes, nice enough to stick around for another segment here. Appreciate that. And, you know, Governor Newsom, he signs this all new tax transparency law, which means no presidential candidate can be on the primary ballot. We want to get that straight. The primary ballot, unless they release the last 5 years of their tax returns. You know the White House is going to fight this. You're on the ballot here in California. What would you say to this?
Well, I think people need to step back and look at this, that our tax returns are really fundamental to our personal privacy. It's not the law that any politician has to show their tax returns. But if you're going to make it the law, why doesn't Newsom show his tax returns, and all of the, every statewide office holder, they should maybe show all of their assets, everything that they own? Where does this stop?
Would you show
and the
yours?
challenge, well, I was just going to actually point that out. The challenge is when you show, in today's political world, when you show things when you show what you own, we have to show everything that we own. And what happens with the new kind of socialist politics that we have in this state, those businesses get attacked. So, there's reasons that a lot of people, have their right to privacy. I think it protects the people that work at the companies that members of Congress or others invest in. And so what I would say too is, of all the things that there is to concentrate on this state, all you have to do is go right outside your studio here and you're going to see homeless people walking around everywhere. This is an epidemic. I just did my podcast on it this week. And so why on earth, on a state that nobody really believes that Trump's going to win, a Republican's going to win in the state of California, the Democrats control everything. So what it really looks like is this is just more of their march towards socialism and just attacking the president for no reason. Trump's not going to win California. So I mean, why waste time on this?
Do you think it should be amended that it should be in the Constitution that a president release his tax returns?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I mean, because it goes back to what I just said. Yeah. I mean, where does your right to privacy start and stop? And I would bet if you went to the politicians in California, and if you ask them to show their tax returns, the ones that are in the state assembly, state senate, good luck. You're not going to get them to show your tax returns.
It's interesting.
And I mean, it would open up so many investigations into their personal finances they would never want it.
Yeah.
Which is the same reason, quite frankly, why President Trump doesn't want this out, because the guy owns businesses all over the country, and you can imagine what people would do and how many people around him that have been harassed.
It'd be interesting because obviously we think it's going to go to the court, so we'll see how it all develops. But President Trump, he's had a barrage of tweets lately coming right towards Reverend Al Sharpton and Elijah Cummings, who is a respected congressman, as you know. Called Al Sharpton a con man who hates whites and cops. Elijah Cummings, he's been going back and forth calling his district of Baltimore a disgusting rat and rodent infested mess. In fact, coming out on Wednesday and saying that Baltimore is worse than Honduras. This cannot be what GOP leaders like yourself, you cannot endorse. Well,
there's two ways to look at this. So look, is it the way that I would conduct business? No. Do I think that there are some tweets that are unnecessary? Absolutely, yes. However, with that said, this president has been under this Russia hoax investigation, where it was the Democrats the entire time that were colluding with the Russians. The mainstream media hasn't reported on it. And the only way this president has had to get above and go over what I would call the fake news media has been to tweet. And so he's a first-time politician. No, they're not racist tweets. He's a first-time politician who came into office under a hoax investigation, put his whole family, everybody that was around it, including, saying that I was tied to Moscow somehow. So they've gone so crazy, and the reason that the president is attacking Elijah Cummings is because he sits in a very powerful position. He's the head of the Oversight Committee. He's issuing subpoena after subpoena, going after the president and his family, and has been behind this whole Russia hoax for the last 2.5 years. And so The way the president views things, which is unlike I do, if you hit the president, he's going to hit you back. And it's not how I operate, but it's how he operates.
But these are being construed as racist tweets. I know you said that they weren't racist, but he's going after Elijah Cummings. He's gone after the quote-unquote squad, as they are called, telling them to go back to their countries. How can one not determine that to be
Well,
racist?
I would say this. The movement of the Socialist Democratic Party is when you don't have the facts on your side, just call that person a racist. So President Trump attacks everyone and anyone who attacks him. So it's funny that you only pick out the few people that are either female or of color, of some different race. Versus, I guarantee you, he's attacked a whole bunch of white people too, which is kind of ironic.
Well, I'll tell you what. Always good to talk to you. We are out of time.
All right. Anytime.
I can't wait to see you back again, and it's going to be interesting in 2020. I can tell you that.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks for being here. All right.